Hi, welcome to Lumiata's 5 question series. I'm Shannon Marx. I oversee the commercial business for Lumiata, and I have Ed Marx here, no relation, with me today. Ed is the Chief Digital Officer for Tech Mahindra. Ed, welcome to the series.
Jan, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to chat.
Yeah, no, me too. Before we get started, I'd love to just let the audience know who you are and what you oversee for Tech Mahindra and a little bit about your background and experience.
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm husband to one, father to five, grandfather to four, I think. And yeah, that's the most important roles. But I did start off in healthcare at an early age. I was like 16 years old. I was a janitor in a healthcare facility, and I knew, oh my gosh, this is my calling in life. I wasn't sure how it would manifest itself, but I just knew that experience just stirred up a passion within me. So I sort of followed that the best I could as a teenager, and I became a combat medic in the Army when I graduated from high school and to pay my way into college. And then from there, I just made sure I got jobs in healthcare. I worked as an anesthesia tech and then as a computer project manager. And then one day I had this traumatic healthcare experience with the birth of our first daughter that showed me exactly what I was supposed to do, and that's to bring together the clinical aspects of technology with the business aspects, with strategy, and help save people's lives. And so that's what I've been doing since then. I've been very fortunate, blessed to work with great teams at great organizations. And as a result, got to do many, many cool things, starting off at some smaller hospitals in Colorado, and then eventually some bigger places like Texas Health Resources, University Hospitals in Cleveland, and the Cleveland Clinic, and New York City Health and Hospitals. Yeah, it's been a fun ride. I loved all those organizations. So today I'm on the providers or on the partner side, working for Tech Mahindra Health and Life Sciences. So bringing all that experience, again, working with great people and great organization.
That's great. I've had a similar experience in that I've kind of played in many different roles within the industry. And I always say that I've seen it all, even though I know I've actually never seen it all. There's just healthcare is so big and constantly changing. So thank you for sharing that. Where we would really like to focus for today is on AI in healthcare. So I'd love to get your take on how you see the future of AI kind of playing out in healthcare. It's become quite a buzzword, but there's a lot of focus on it in the industry in general, and would just love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'd love to share. So yeah, a lot of people think of AI as artificial intelligence. I always reworded it to say augmented intelligence, because I don't think we'll ever displace, the human empathy component of having a person with you in your most difficult times. But certainly there's a lot we can do to AI to improve both the business aspects and the clinical aspects and the experience aspects of healthcare. So I think there's great promise. I think we're still early stages. There was a lot of hype around AI, and appropriately, like I think there's great opportunity. But if you were to just make a simple, like, are we in the beginning stage or medium, intermediate stage or advanced? I'd say we're just getting out of the beginner stage, but it's very exciting. And I think that there's things that are going to happen with AI that you and I can't even fathom today. But 2 years from now, we'll be like, oh yeah, of course.
So true. At Lumiata, we always say we meet you wherever you are on your AI journey, because the journey is so different depending on where everybody's at today. But I'd love to hear more about your time at Cleveland Clinic. Were there any aha moments specific to AI and healthcare that you had while you were there?
Yeah, it's just so many. Every day was another trip, learning something new. I actually worked one day a week in the OR as an anesthesia tech, going back to my old anesthesia tech days early on in my career, just to keep a heartbeat on what's happening clinically and just to make sure that I was always, remembering why I was there. It was about the patients and the clinicians. And so I got to see a lot of really advanced thinking and things that we were doing. Two that come to mind. The first one actually helped me, so I'll speak about that one first. And that's something as important but simple as a prostate cancer screening tool. So the traditional tool used today, like a blood test, is only about 50% effective. It's really hit or miss. And you don't want to get it wrong, for obvious reasons. You don't want a false positive or a false negative. So you want to get it right. So the clinic, with a couple of other healthcare organizations, figured out a way to use AI, and based on a lot of historical data, based on your data, and came up with a test that was 95% accurate. So I was one of the recipients of those tests. Unfortunately, it was positive, but the good news is that because it was caught early, we could do something about it without, losing my life. So again, I always say that healthcare technology saves lives. I'm an example of that. Another one, which I thought was really progressive, that kind of gets towards that intermediate stage, is really with some of the photon therapies. So today, I mean, organizations are awesome. Everyone's doing everything they can to fight cancer, but it's still sort of early stages. And so, as an example, with radiation treatment, we treat every patient the same. So, okay, you have a tumor in this part of your body. We're going to flood that part of your body with radiation and, kill those cancer cells. Well, it's not super effective, and there's a lot of collateral damage. Now, it's the best that we can do, and I'm so thankful. I am not saying anything negative about that level of care. It is where we are today. It's way further advanced than 5 years ago. Love it. But we were able to develop capability using AI, taking EHR data, so that individuals' electronic health record data, and mixing it with what we know from experience, from treating a lot of patients with particular tumors, and applying that. And we ended up with less than a 5% error rate in, true targeting the tumor and taking care of that tumor. So we went from, just everyone gets the same treatment to a very highly personalized, more effective treatment, which again is saving lives, and if not saving lives, increasing the quality of care. So those are two examples right off the top of my head that I'm really excited about. There's so much more to do and so much more that other organizations are doing, but that's two examples right there.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. There's just like the broad spectrum of what we can use AI for in the healthcare industry. And we are starting to see many AI companies kind of pop up with different use cases they can solve for. How do you see those companies really basically staking their claim to where they can be in the industry, or making themselves stand out from all of the other competitors that are playing in that space?
Yeah, it is sort of the wild west right now, with a lot of different companies trying to vie in that space and become successful. And I think that's great. That's part of what makes America, United States, so unique, is that level of competition and having a lot of different great thinkers think about it. It's really hard to be super successful in the area historically, right? If you look at IBM and the Watson, and I worked with that when I was at the clinic. And you've seen the recent announcements. Healthcare is really hard, as you know. So yeah, what really helps, I think, is a focus on healthcare. So a lot of AI companies, they dabble in a lot of different industries. And while I'm a huge proponent of taking learnings from other industries and bringing them into healthcare, when it comes to AI, it's so specific in healthcare. I love companies that are very specific to healthcare. So they understand healthcare, they understand clinicians, they understand patient care, they understand the nuances of healthcare. And so I think that's really important. The second thing is, when you think about it from a business perspective, as well as really understanding things like population health, as an example. So it's really important, population health, not just from a clinical point of view, which is number one, but also we do have to talk about the business side of it as well. So with AI, you could do a lot of predictive capabilities and making sure that your population is cared for in the most effective, cost-efficient manner. But at the end of the day, it leads to superior clinical outcomes and quality of care. So that's another area. So not only do they have healthcare experience, but they also have in-depth experience, things that help on the revenue side as well, like with population health. So the other thing is, the larger the data sets, the greater opportunities there might be. It's not a one-for-one correlation, but it's certainly really important. So a company like Lumiata, who comes in and has giant data sets in which to mine data to do AI and the related algorithms and machine learning, things like that, that's another key differentiator. So those are sort of three. Other than the obvious clinical ones, is on the population health, healthcare experience, and third is really these large data sets that you need to be really effective in AI.
Yeah, I love that. And I couldn't agree with you more. I've been lucky enough, since I've been at Lumiata, to partner with Tech Mahindra. So I'm really in tune with what you guys are doing. But for the audience today, can you touch on some of the biggest challenges that you guys are solving for and some of the exciting things you've got going on?
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's like, okay, what I could talk about on any multitude of number of topics. but we really do love our partnership with you, and really trying to help organizations solve some, huge challenges. I would say in a big sense, there's two areas. One is digital transformation, and another one is virtual care. So digital transformation, kind of a big, it includes AI for sure. And then you have the whole aspect of virtual care. And so like with AI and virtual care, it's like, okay, how do we make systems smarter? So like we have a digital front door, and how do we make it better, a more seamless experience, right? We're about the patient experience and family experience and the clinician experience. And how do we lever AI, helping our partner organizations, be successful in doing these things. So an example would be like the ability to do symptom checking, where you're interacting with a bot, but it's all AI and machine learning driven. So the algorithms keep getting better and better over time, and we keep learning more and more. So think about how much more effective and efficient that is if you know immediately that, hey, do I need to come in and drive downtown or wherever I might be, or drive 2 hours to go to an acute care or emergency department, or is this something that isn't, all that require that level of care? And so I can have that take care. I can do a lot of self-care. I can triage myself. And then if needed, of course, you want to do the acute care, and it might be telemedicine or some other virtual care capability. But it's things like that that we're really focused on. But we really love, exploring this whole AI area with your organization, given your leadership in that area.
Thank you. Yes, we're honored to be a partner with Tech Mahindra. We're excited to see everything that you guys accomplished this year. And thanks for joining me today, Ed. This was great. So thank you so much for being a part of our 5-question series.
Yeah, it's an honor to take part, and I appreciate being a part of all of it that's going on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.